The three wise men following a star, a final savior born of a virgin, an ultimate battle between the forces of good and evil. These narratives often include a final judgment after death, where souls cross a bridge to be separated into a realm of endless light or a house of lies. While these concepts are cornerstones of Judaism and Christianity, scholars note they only began appearing in Jewish texts after the Babylonian exile, a period where Jewish communities lived and studied within the Persian Empire. The source was the Persian prophet Zarathustra and his faith, Zoroastrianism. It was the first religion to center on a single supreme God and a strict ethical dualism, providing the framework that the Abrahamic faiths would later adopt. Through centuries of imperial interaction and scholarly exchange, these Persian ideas became the silent foundation for beliefs now held by billions of people. You can still see the scale of this influence today during Nowruz. It is an ancient festival of renewal, still celebrated by millions across Central Asia and the Middle East. But if you look past the millions celebrating the culture and try to find the actual descendants of the faith, the numbers tell a different story. In Mumbai, the Parsi community serves as the primary surviving link to this ancient tradition. Nationwide, there were only roughly 60,000 of them left. How did a religion that provided the conceptual tools for the modern world find itself on the brink of a demographic collapse? The modern Parsi community is exceptionally successful and highly educated, but its members are aging. Today, their median age is over 50. Finding a Parsi spouse in a city of 18 million has become so difficult that youth organizations host monthly matrimonial weeks and subsidize speed dating events to help young couples meet. These measures are necessary because Zoroastrianism strictly forbids converts. Under traditional rules, membership is a closed circle. You must be born to Parsi parents to belong. Because the community cannot grow through conversion, the population is entirely dependent on internal birth rates that have been declining for decades. This isolation is rooted in the Vendidad, an ancient text serving as a religious and ritual code. The text is preoccupied with purification and rejecting nasu, the force of decay and pollution. It outlines strict penalties for anything compromising ritual purity. Historically, this insistence on purity allowed the Parsis to survive as a distinct minority during centuries of migration, preventing their identity from being absorbed into the larger cultures around them. This desire for separation reflects their core belief in ethical dualism, the constant struggle between a righteous, creative spirit and a destructive, polluting one. The very rules that preserved Parsi identity for 1,000 years have now created a crisis where that same identity is struggling to replicate itself. The pressure on these rules is mounting. Today, 1 in every 3 Parsi marriages is interfaith. However, the laws are applied with a stark patriarchal double standard. Men marrying outside the faith can still have their children initiated into the religion, but Parsi women marrying non-Parsis are often excommunicated. Their children are barred from religious rituals and not permitted to enter the community's fire temples. By enforcing this exclusion, the community is effectively severing its ties to half of the children born to its members. Demographic studies suggest that if these customs remain unchanged, the Parsi population in Mumbai will drop to just 19,000 within the next 30 years. To stop this decline without changing the rules, the community would need to somehow triple its current birth rate. This reality has created a deep internal divide. Reformists argue that the community must include the children of interfaith mothers if it wants to avoid this appearing. Traditionalists, however, believe that relaxing these standards of purity would fundamentally alter the Parsi identity until it is no longer recognizable. They are facing a choice between maintaining the biological lineage of their people or strictly adhering to the ancient rules that defined them. The stone walls of Mumbai's Parsi colonies were built to protect a world-changing set of ideas. But today, those walls are becoming a boundary for the people themselves. It raises a final dilemma. What is the value of a sacred rule if its enforcement leaves no one behind to practice it?